YouTube, Dog Edition of Team Sorcerers here, and I thought I'd do a discussion about the different kinds of duels that you can have when playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh, and I'm doing this on the Team Sorcerers channel purely because we've hardly been uploading as much content as we used to, and I think it's about time that changed. Now, I did do this on my own personal channel like a while ago, but obviously that video's gone, so I'm redoing it and putting it on the Team Sorcerers channel, like I said. So there's lots of different ways to play the game. You've got the normal casual games, you've got normal tournament games, that's self-explanatory. Of course, there's plenty of other ways you can duel, like battle royales, tag team duels, endurances, raid boss games. There's also deck master rules, which I kind of forgot about until Express Gaming brought it up, but I'll talk about that later. And there's also duels where you can actually use more than one deck at the same time, which of course I've done myself in the past. Where I basically have one field, start with the same life points, or twice the amount of life points, but use two decks, let's say. Which is kind of cool. So I'm just going to voice my opinions on all of those. Obviously, I love playing the game normally a lot and have done for about 19 years now. Tournaments I've lost interest in. I just don't want to do them anymore for reasons which I already discussed, but I'll summarise it for those who don't know or have forgotten. I'm just fed up of the meta, or any deck that does something that doesn't let me play the game. Dragoon, Ash Blossom and Mystic Mine existing, not drawing my sided cards when I need them, getting fucked over by end of match procedure, and just dealing with players who, in some way or another, take the game too seriously. These things just make tournaments shit now. I'm not trying to put people off doing them, but I'm just saying that for me, it's just not worth doing. And I also just realised that I forgot about Pegasus Challenge style tournaments or duels where special conditions or rules, or I guess the easiest thing to call it would be duel effects, keep being thrown in at any point. I do like trying out different ways to duel, obviously showing normal casual games is really fun, but I like to mix it up every once in a while, on both my channel and this channel, just so I'm not showing pretty much the same thing over and over again. I like uploading different kinds of duels to keep things fresh. Battle royales are pretty fun. It's just basically a normal duel but with more than two people, and it's just basically one big duel where everyone can just have fun and a laugh. Although it does get really annoying when multiple people gang up or team up on one person, which isn't fair, especially if that person isn't even a threat. Now we have introduced the attack immunity rule to try and prevent this, but there's only so much that rule can do to prevent it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it basically means like if player A attacks player B and the attack connects and player C is after player A, then player C cannot attack player B that turn. However, if there's only 3 people in the battle royale, or it's knocked from a bigger number to 3, then the rule doesn't apply just because it's easier. I'll go over the other battle royale rules in another video, which I plan to put on this channel. It's just a fun thing to do at like game nights or someone's house, although at a game night we kind of make it somewhat more official and call it the Dead Universe Comics Yu-Gi-Oh! Royal Rumble, which we've been doing that way for like over 7 years now, and it's considered the next best thing to a tournament, pretty much. But yeah, I'll talk more about those in a separate video. Then of course there's tag team duels, another way where more than 2 people can be involved, which I think is a lot of fun. Just 2 players teaming up against another 2 players. It would be nice to have more of those anymore, since I don't actually remember the last time I played in a tag team duel. It's just been so long now. But you can do it with more than... teams can be more than 2. You can even do it as teams of 3 or maybe even 4. And I did once have a 3-on-3 tag team duel, and that was 10 years ago during my 4th trip to Margate, when I teamed up with Neon Exodus and Ojama Bomb, and we faced off against Mr. Sasuke, Dragon, Scapegoat User and 89 Manic. But I'll talk more about that when I talk about my 4th Margate trip on my own channel. I would like to have a 3-on-3 tag team duel again at some point. That was awesome. Or just a normal tag team game. I don't like one of the rules, tag team rules in tournaments though, where the whole of both decks have to follow the ban list. So, for instance, only one of the 2 players can play Harpy's Feather Duster, or what's a semi-limited card? Destiny Hero Malicious. It's like only one player can either have 2 copies of Mali, or both players can have 1 copy of Mali each. But then again, we've not had a tag team tournament for 5 years now, so I guess it doesn't matter. And we don't follow that rule anyway in casual tag team duels. It's just stupid, difficult, awkward and pointless to me, but it's still a hell of fun. Then of course there's the Deck Master rules, which Express Gaming mentioned. Like if you've seen Season 3 of the original series of Yu-Gi-Oh!, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, 1 monster put to the side as the Deck Master. You can special summon it to the field at any time, but if it gets destroyed then you lose. However, if it's tributed, or like for a tribute summon or a ritual, or used as an extra deck monster, then the new monster becomes the Deck Master. And obviously, while the deckmaster is on the sidelines, they have different effects, which is kind of cool. Obviously, I'd pick a Dark Magician, and apparently there's two different ones where you can either just destroy a monster. I can't remember what the requirement is, but it basically works like Thousand Knives, or you activate a spell card with a condition where it can only be used or activated once per turn, but change it into a twice per turn effect, right, if that makes sense. Which is interesting because I always thought that rule was pay 1,000 life points to copy a spell in your graveyard and activate it. But there we go. Now, I did actually play in a couple of Deckmaster tournaments a long time ago. Once when I was playing in the Watford locals in 2004, and another was an online tournament which I was in back in 2005, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I haven't done it that way ever since. Me and Express Gaming might try it out. However, one thing we're not quite sure about is what happens if the Deckmaster leaves the field without it being destroyed or replaced by something else. So basically, we don't know what would happen if it gets removed from the field by, let's say, Drowning Mirror Force, Storming Mirror Force, Karma Cuts D-Prison, things like that. Express Gaming thinks the Deckmaster should be returned to the sidelines since it's not being destroyed, but I myself am not too sure about that. I think it would make more sense if the owner of the Deckmaster just lost, because otherwise that just kind of complicates the rules a bit. Like if a Deckmaster is bounced or banished, and it's not present on the field or on the sidelines, and it's somewhere in the hand or deck, I feel like that would kind of contradict it. Well, see, the problem is it doesn't really help that Deckmaster rules haven't been updated for like almost 20 years, so it's kind of hard to say. Maybe someone who's somewhat more familiar with Deckmaster rules can tell us in the comments, or what do you guys think anyway? How do you think it would work in that situation? And then, of course, there's Pegasus Challenge duels, raid boss and endurances, which, to be honest, I've kind of gone off, really, hence why they haven't been done for a while. Yeah, that does sound surprising, what I said about Pegasus Challenge rules, considering I was well up for it before. But the reason I'm not so much is because I feel like the negative dual effects just screw me over and cause me to lose, like even more so than the opponent, which is just really infuriating. And I know that sounds salty and petty, but you know, I can't help feel that way. And I feel like that's been the case in the last Pegasus Challenge tournament I was in, and a Battle Royale I was in, like several weeks back. And I was a bit unlucky in the one before. Like for instance, this was the second of two that me and Express Gaming did back in December last year. And one moment that really messed me up was when I was using my Magician Girls against his Blue Eyes deck. And he had no hand, whereas I did have a hand, and he had an overwhelming board. And I did have ways I could use my hands to try and turn things around, but then the spinny wheel thing landed on an effect that said both players swap their hands, and that basically screwed me over and caused me to lose. But even that wasn't as bad as what happened in the Battle Royale, which wasn't on camera, although I kind of wish it was, though. But yeah, it was me, Cookie, and Ethan, and a few other guys, and I was using my elemental heroes, and I can't remember if this happened on my first or second turn, but at one point when it was my turn, I had 2 copies of Miracle Fusion in my hand, and I fusion summoned Sunrise and searched for the other. Then after that, the randomizer, or whatever it was used, landed on a card destruction effect. So basically, all players have to discard their hands. Then there was just this look of horror on my face, and I yelled, "No!" Excuse me. So, just like that, I lost all 3 copies of the best spell in my deck. I was so annoyed about that. I mean, I still had polymerization and super poly, so I could still fusion summon, but not that easily. Yeah, that was just infuriating, and I spent a lot of most of the rest of that battle royal hoping it would land on an effect which said that either we could add a spell from our graves to our hand, or a card, or have the entire graveyard get shuffled back into the deck. No such luck. Instead, it landed on an effect that said all cards in everyone's graveyard get banished. Yeah, that really annoyed me as well. It was bad enough that I lost all 3 copies of Miracle Fusion, but having my entire graveyard banished was just insult to injury. So even if the randomizer did land on an effect that allowed me to recycle something from the grave, it wouldn't do me any good. That being said, I did do quite well considering. I took Ethan out of the game, whereas almost everyone else just scooped, so it was me and one other person left, but I couldn't put enough damage on boards to win the whole thing, and I decked out. If it hadn't been for that stupid card destruction effect, I could have probably won the whole thing, or at least just done a lot better. But yeah, that one duel effects just fucked me over big time, and now I don't want to do Pegasus Challenge duels anymore, because what's the point if the negative duel effects are going to mess me up more than the opponent? Yeah, I know it's random and everyone's in the same boat, but like I said, the negative effects just seem to hurt me more than my opponents. I seem to have the worst luck when it comes to Pegasus Challenge duels, and everything started out so well when I started doing them, but late on in 2021 and earlier this year, I just have terrible luck. And as for endurances and raid bosses, well, basically decks that do things that don't let me play the game have pretty much put me off. Mainly B troopers. Last time I recorded a raid boss, or at least attempted to record one, like B troopers just pissed me off too much. Like, that deck just has too many negates, which I just can't play through. And it was just infuriating. It's like, great, this is fun. And it's like, well, what's the point in playing if I can't play, basically? I mean, that being said, I did beat the B Troopers eventually, but it doesn't really matter. Like, regardless of whether I can beat a deck that I hate or not, it just frustrates me too much. And like, it's, what are the words I'm looking for? They just ruin the fun of the game and just suck all the fun, life and joy out of it, whether it OTKs, locks my deck down, or both, like Endymion, Pendulum Magician and Cyber Dragon, for instance, FTKs, or is a troll deck that is neither Exodia or Destiny board, which of course was the main reason why I stopped playing in tournaments. Like, I left tournaments to specifically get away from those kinds of decks so that I don't have to deal with them anymore. And I sure as hell don't want to play against them outside of tournament games. And it just annoys me a lot when players still try force-feeding me matchups against them. Or just complain that I won't play against them, and just or just give me shit for it. But all I can say is sorry for not wanting to play against a deck that doesn't let me play the game. See, some of us want to, actually play a game of Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, as hard as this is for people who play these decks to believe, some of us don't want to get gamed turn one before we've had a chance to do anything, or have our decks locked down in some way or another by a board of negates, or disruptions, or floodgates, or 2 or 3 of the above, so that I can't fucking do anything at all. Otherwise it's not fair. I mean, why do you think I hate the decks that I hate and never want to play against them? Like, it's not like I'm hating on them for the fun of it. I mean, I don't hate on decks or even cards that I hate for no good reason. Believe it or not, I have perfectly valid reasons for hating the decks that I hate and not wanting to play against them. As a result, that put me off playing in tournaments, and it just put me off playing in both raid bosses and endurances. Like, they just don't make those duels fun, and it just sucks all the fun, life and joy out of it. And in raid bosses and endurance, it just makes it harder to get further, yet alone win the whole thing. Of course, that being said, though, I'm considering doing just one more endurance sometime next year, to celebrate 20 years since I first started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And the plan is to use all of my active current format decks, past format decks, and even character decks. Speed duel decks, not so much. I might do something separate for that. Actually, that's another way of dueling that I completely forgot about. Speed duels. I mean, speed duels are a lot of fun as well, because it gives a feel of like old school Yu-Gi-Oh, like original series, and like GX era as well, which was fun and was my sort of era. The only problem I have with speed duels is just Amazoness and Dragon decks existing. Now, normally I do like Blue Eyes and Red Eyes, but they're just annoying to play against if Lord of Dragons is on the field, and it's near impossible to overcome big dragons with targeting immunity. There's not many things that can get over them. And then, of course, there's Amazoness. Like, I'm sorry, but the Swordswoman Heirloom combo is cheap, dirty, and fucking annoying. I hate it. I'm told that Jinzo decks are worse, but I'm still more bothered about Swordswoman with Heirloom and untargetable dragons. I mean, Jinzo is tough, but depending on what deck I'm using, I can deal with Jinzo. Like, Dark Magician can run it over. Thunder Giant can just kamikaze into it. And if I'm using my Arcana Knights, I can just get over Jinzo with Arcana Knight Joker. Then again, Joker, of course, can overcome a Blue Eyes White Dragon or Meteor Black Dragon. Of course, if Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon is on the field, then there's an issue. Yeah, I still would like to do more speed duel tournaments, give Dark Magician another go in them, or see how far I get with my Arcana Knights and my Elemental Heroes. That being said, though, all my speed duel decks are kind of hit and miss, especially Dark Magician. It's like either I have a good hand and can do something, or have the nuts, or I just brick and struggle big time, and it's just frustrating. Like, Dark Magician needs more support in speed duels. I feel like no matter what changes I make to my deck, I still struggle a lot, and I'm just considering just giving up speed duels altogether because of it. I mean, I haven't stopped doing them completely, at least right now. I mean, I know it's been many months now since I've played some speed duels, but the only reason I haven't is because I've been focusing more on showcasing all my past format decks in chronological order, like through duels and deck profiles, and doing the same with all my current format deck cores that are either active or in folders. And there shouldn't be too many current format decks left to showcase. And I will return to speed duels eventually, but it's just not a priority right now. There is rush duels as well, which look actually looks more fun than speed duels and the normal game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Due to the fact that you can do multiple normal summons, and whoever goes first can draw. And I wish that rule was still in the normal game of Yu-Gi-Oh! I hate that Konami got rid of that rule 8 years ago, and I really want them to bring it back, because I feel like in that aspect, whoever goes first is at an unfair disadvantage in terms of card numbers. Then again, if you're playing a consistent deck with lots of draw power or search power or both, it doesn't matter. But even so, like, I still want the first turn draw rule to come back. And it's just laughable that people think they can justify this rule by saying, oh, but Magic the Gathering have had this rule for years. Like, I don't give a shit. Screw Magic the Gathering. Like, this is Yu-Gi-Oh!, not Magic the Gathering. Like, they're two completely different games. Well, mostly. I don't know. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about in this video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of all those different kinds of duels. And thank you for watching. Stay safe. I need a drink now because my throat's dry. And I'll catch you guys later. See ya.